Thank you for rejoining me. I suppose you want to know, if you're watching this, how I feel quite a long time after the scientific medication, and if I could give you any advice, then I'll do that. Now, this is what I take now. I have actually done a video on the day after taking this because I felt so much better. It was actually ridiculous. I can't guarantee that will happen to you, but it might do. The drug name is called adalimumab. Alilibabubabab. There we go. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. I also take these, two in the morning, 2 in the evening of these. This is sulfasalazine. I should know, but I've had so many medical terms lately, it's hard to keep up with the names, you know, they're difficult. Anyway, this is an injection. I've used it already. But yeah, you click down, liquid goes down into your leg. You can do your stomach too, but why would you do your stomach over your leg? And it might sound a bit, I know people don't like injections, all the thought with them, but to be honest with you, I've had so many now because I get my blood test regularly, that although I don't like it, I can do it, you know, I can do it. So when you get used to things after a while, and actually these, as injections go, it really don't feel a thing. You click it, I don't feel anything really, maybe a tiny little pinch, but not much. It's not as bad as like a regular injection. Anyway, a lot of you don't like talking about that. I don't want you to faint on me at home. But again, but I love it. This has saved me. And basically, it is a biological injection, and it lowers your TNF. And this lowers your TNF too. And TNF sends signals to your immune system to create inflammation. And although I feel a lot better on them, I'm not perfect. I get bad days. Particularly in the morning. Morning's I have to start moving around, moving my arms, moving my joints, move every kind of joint, stretch. Yeah, they say with axial spondyloarthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, whatever you want to call it, they say you should exercise every day. The problem is, before this medication, that was near impossible. The reason that they want you to exercise every day is because basically it causes your joints to fuse. And the stretching and every morning that I do, and moving the joints, that's why I want to try and prevent my joints from fusing. So that is a must, and I try and exercise on top of that too, like weight training or sometimes cardio. I go swimming. There's a swimming pool in my village, so I wouldn't say I was a machine, but I do try to do it regularly. Yeah. One thing I cannot avoid though is the movements of joints and the stretching, because if I don't do that, I could be in trouble. It's kind of a weird disease where exercise, I have to exercise regularly, so I should be very fit. And then when people look at me, they see, or people that have to exercise regularly, they obviously see a very fit person or a very healthy person, but actually in reality they're not. They're not healthy, they just have to exercise. Quite a strange one, that one, isn't it? But I can exercise now again thanks to this, so that's great. If I was to go through the diets again, so I did the 3-month beef diet, and the 3-month beef diet was horrible, as you can imagine. It was horrible. So the problem with it, obviously, is that you're eating the same thing all the time. You're going to get sick of eating it, and the weight loss was huge. I really could not keep any weight on, and fatigue also, like sleepy all the time, no energy. That's the big problem, and your stomach doesn't fit in well with it, and you know you can't keep that up for very long. So yeah. So after that, I went to a starch only diet. This is where, or zero starch, sorry, not starch only. No, that would be very bad. Zero starch diet, so zero carbohydrates actually. I went a bit further. I didn't have any simple sugars as well as starch. And the starch, on the video it says starch is a sugar. It's not really a sugar. It's kind of many sugars together, many glucose together. So it's kind of like calling a wall of bricks a brick wall, you know. So I suppose you want to get technical, it's not really a sugar. It's many sugars bound together, or many glucose bound together, that releases more slowly than simple sugars in your body. So, you know, potatoes, wheat, pasta. I went through it all. I'm not going to go into in depth because you can see the videos yourself, but actually that was definitely the one that helped me the most, and I had more energy on it, and I was definitely feeling a lot better with that. And there is quite a lot of science, like I talk about in the video, or a lot of research that they've done historically with the connection of starch and ankylosing spondylitis, and I would say it does definitely help. It doesn't completely cure you, it helps, and with the science involved in it, or the research done in it, it helps about 50% of people, not everyone, so with AS. So hey, if you've got AS, just give it a try. I recommend that. What I would adjust it, because the problem with having zero carbohydrate is that when you do have carbohydrates, and inevitably you will, one day you'll order something and they might bread the chicken or something like that, yeah, then your stomach forgets very quickly how to digest any kind of sugar or starch, and you get ill, like you'll be sick, diarrhea, and yeah. So I would recommend actually doing a low starch diet. And actually after I'd done my diets, because I went to a low starch after this, after the 3 months of zero carbohydrates, I did low starch for, if I try and remember, I'm hard to remember now because I did so much of it, 2 months, and I did get problems when I reintroduced carbohydrates, but I didn't get the stomach problems where you completely cut them out. So after that I just ate regularly again, and then I had a lot of problems. So I think actually, and I didn't really remember till I went back through the videos and I created these videos, that I remember kind of the effects. It was kind of like a video diary, and looking at it all, I now know with certainty that carbohydrates do help inflame my problem. And like I say, there's not verified research that's done in it, but there's quite a lot of research. There's also a big community on Facebook where people do a low starch diet or zero starch diet with ankylosing spondylitis, and I'll tell you what, I'll leave a link for that in the description. But my suggestion to you is do low starch, because otherwise you'll have stomach problems. You don't want your body to forget how to digest carbohydrates, because then, like I say, you'll get ill when you have it, which happened to me. And you know, all this has been a very expensive experiment, you know, from the beef to just drinking red wine. Don't get me wrong, a nice steak and red wine is amazing, but not when you're having it all the time. And some say it was meant to be beef only and no red wine, and I did that too, but I you know, I can't be that perfect, okay? So my overall recommendations are 9 months later now, so I'm feeling so much better, it's ridiculous. Like I say, I still have bad days, I still get flares. If I get flares and I'm particularly busy or I can't handle them, I will have an ibuprofen, which keeps the inflammation down again, if it's bad. But you know, other than that, you want these things. Actually, do what your doctor says, more importantly. Do what your rheumatologist says, but it tells you to take. But I take 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening of that. This I do every 3 weeks now. It was every 2 weeks, but because the reason I get blood tests is to check like my white blood cell count, and it was quite low. or a bit too low, so they changed it to 3 weeks, which is why I get a blood test, because you've got to check these things. It's proper medicine, right? But I highly recommend that. The doctor will tell you anyway. If you want to incorporate the food with it, I recommend a low starch diet and low sugar diet. I don't have sugar anyway very much, to be honest with you. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so that's why I never even seem to mention it, because even when I'm on regular eating, I don't have much sugar in my life. So yeah, low sugar, definitely low starch, and medication. And I feel like 100 times better. It's actually ridiculous. I really felt last year I was in quite a bad place, and I really felt like I was never going to get better again. And a lot of people with autoimmune problems, people ask like, oh, are you getting better? You never really get better with autoimmune problems. You just you might be fortunate enough to try and control your symptoms, but it's permanent, you know. But I've got them under control a lot more now. Even if I get bad days, it was nothing like before. So I'm really happy I've got my life back. And thank you for watching me throughout this journey. If you haven't watched me throughout this journey, you can do so. I've done like a video on every stage of dieting and medication, and that's me. So I normally do a travel video, so I might go back to that now. If you're fed up of my medical stuff, I might try and put it into, you know, mix it a bit. But next I should do some travel videos. And if you yourself are struggling at all and you want someone to talk to, leave a comment. If you're not struggling, you want to leave a comment, but if you are, I'll definitely get back to you and try and help out in any way I can. Obviously I'm not a medical professional, keep in mind, don't claim to be. And or if you just want some support, some kind words, you know, leave a message. And thank you very much for watching. Till next time.